What is going on? This is AlToneRC, and today I have the pleasure of sharing with you the differences between the Radiolink T12D and the Radiolink T16D. Now, these two are awesome beginner radios, but they have a ton of functions and features, and I figure I'd just show you the differences between the two so that if you're wondering, you might be able to make a choice on which one you think might be the best for you and your situation, your project, and what you want to use it for. Both of these radios are very, very nice radios. There's really not a great price difference between the two. And again, I think they're fantastic beginner radios. So with that all being said, let's jump to the drop down real quick. And let me introduce you to both radios and do some comparison between the two and share with you some of the obvious and then some of the not so obvious differences between the two. All right, so we have the two radios here, and this is, of course, the T12D. I've actually flown or used this particular radio to fly a couple of aircraft. I've actually marked some of my switches and whatnot on here, and this is the new T16D. Haven't flown anything with it yet, but I plan on it. A couple of things that major differences. Let's just talk about those really quickly before we start up both of the radios. One of them is the T12D is a 12-channel RC controller. The T16D is a 16-channel. The T12D comes with a 12-channel receiver. The T16D comes with a 16-channel receiver. And this is the dual antenna 16-channel receiver that actually comes with the T16D. And again, the T12D actually comes with a 12-channel receiver. And this is the 12-channel, the R12F, that actually comes with the T12D. So that is one of the first differences. The T12D does not come with a case, where the T16D does come with a carrying case. They both have their manuals, and that's some of the major differences. Your channels, the reason why you have 4 additional channels on here is because these spots here at the top, they are for the additional channels. Now, is it possible to upgrade a T12D for that? I do not know, and that's not something I'll be trying to do. So on top of that, if you look on the back of the T16D, it actually has a module bay here on the back already, where the T12D does not. And what that does is it will allow you to actually use an Express TRRS module on the module bay. Tell the radio you're using the external module and be able to bind to and control aircraft that have ELRS receivers in them. And this is absolutely awesome, because this is going to allow you to take advantage of the long range of the radio receiver and control link, and still use the Radiolink radios using their menus to set up and control your radios. So this guy doesn't have the module bay on the back, but it can be installed. And I do have one here, and later on I will go through I may create content or video around doing the installation. So that's the module bay. You do have a place here to install it. Pop that window out, take the back cover off, and you can actually install the module. And so that is something, again, that hopefully in the future I'll be doing and showing how that's done. The color is different, obviously. They do look great though. They both actually come with this battery tray, which you can take out. You notice the connector on here. You can actually just put in a LiPo, which is what I have in both radios. And of course, the screen will tell you how much charge is left, or how much charge is left on your battery in the radio. So let's go ahead and start these guys up. And as they're starting, you'll notice that this said, "Welcome to Radiolink." The reason why is because this particular radio, the T16D, one of the other differences is this actually, you can actually put a sound pack in it, where this one you cannot. One of the things that I will tell you about both of these radios is there is a firmware update. Depending on when you purchase it, There's a firmware update that you can put in the radio that's also going to allow you to be able to control a simulator without having to use the simulator or buy an additional cable. Initially, you had to use the cable with the simulator 3.5 millimeter jack here connected to your computer, USB, in order to be able to use it with a simulator. Now, with the firmware update, which is very easy to do, I'm pretty sure I've already done a video on that, you can just use the USB-C connection with any other USB-C cable that you might have handy and be able to use this guy to control your flight simulators. And the same with the T16D. It may need a firmware update in order to do that, but the firmware update is relatively easy to do. So here we go. Another difference between the two is how many actual models each one will hold. So if we go to advanced settings, transmitter settings on each one, very, very similar. Don't see any differences here. But if you go to model, I have a couple of models set up because I've flown all of my Radiolink aircraft with this particular radio already. But if you notice, there's 10 models per screen. Here it goes 1 through 5. Here it goes 1 through 7. 1 through 10. I was looking at the voltage. 1 through 10. So this particular radio, you can put 100 or bind 100 different receivers with it. Essentially, you're able to control 100 different models with this radio, where this one will control 50. Either way, that's a lot. Most people will not have 50 aircraft. As many aircraft as I have, I do not currently have 50 aircraft. So if I put a receiver in every single one and bound every single one to this radio, I'd still have additional space left over to be able to bind more radios. So either way, you should be good to go. If you happen to be somebody who builds a lot and just has a ton of different aircraft, you should be able to still control from either one of these. Up to 50 on this one, up to 100 on this one, different models. That is fantastic. And again, 16 channel, 12 channel. That's some of the major differences there. So the buttons and the layout of everything here is the same. The only difference, again, is you have the 4 switches up here. You actually have E, F, G, and H on this one, where you do not have those on this radio. So if we go out, everything else is pretty much the same, except you probably have, let's see, here it shows you have your 16 channels. If you're looking at your channel monitor, where here you only have 12, go back out and some information. This is actually giving you information for the location of the aircraft. So you can actually use this, and Radiolink actually has a heavy lift drone that has a GPS on it. Radiolink also sells, which I have, and I'm going to be doing a project on, I actually have their PIC 6 flight controller. With that, it will take a GPS, LiDAR sensor, a bunch of different sensors, airspeed, all of that. And it can report that information back to this radio. If you're using this particular radio, it does give you that telemetry information back. So that is a fantastic thing. So if we go to basic settings real quick, let's see if we have any differences here. It does have a difference. So you have monitor, reverse, endpoints, channel speed, aux, trims, program mix. Here you have switch audio and a sensor broadcast, where you don't have that on the T12D. So that's one of the differences, and we'll try to do another video just going into what many of these screens do in the future. Then we go to advanced settings quickly. And what you'll notice is you have here, it says advanced settings. Here it says mode settings. That's the difference. Then you also have a few differences here. You have type, flight mode, conditions, rate, throttle curve, throttle hold, VTAIL, then you have a throttle off and a trims group. And that we will actually have to look at. That's a difference. A couple of additional pieces you have mode settings on the T12D that you do not have on the T16D. And I'm sure that there's a reason why they're added here where they're not on this one. So we can come back out. Again, go to transmitter settings. Here it looks relatively similar. Model, system settings, stick mode, trainer, timers, switch settings, boot settings, theme settings, and about. And as we go back, one of the things that I'm going to share with you too is I do plan on using these radios in a buddy box system setup that I'll be using as a trainer for my local RC club that we've started up here. So that is one thing that's going to be awesome as well. And I do have quite a few other Radiolink radios, including the ground radios, that I'll be sharing more information on here in the future as well. So if we go to receiver settings, you see we have RF settings, sensor, and safe. Let's go to RF settings real quick on both. And you'll notice up at the top it says internal. And the reason why I went there is just because I wanted to just show again, we have our module. And if you're going to use the external or an external module like the external Express LRS, now I'm not sure if this will work with an external 401 module. There are some external 401 modules out there on the market. I'll have to check with Radiolink to see if they will use those. Because there's probably some settings in the menu that's going to have to be added for the specific protocol that you're using for that. But you can use the Express LRS module here on the back, and you can make some additional changes. So let's end here. Then you have sensor and failsafe settings that you can change. And let's just take a look really quickly. Nope, that looks to be everything that we have here. End. And if we hit the mode button on each, yep, that's that. If we hit end, it takes us to our monitor. Then we go to information. Is there any additional information on either one of these that's not on the other? It looks like everything else is the same. GPS, alt, external current, external volume, RSSI, speed, yaw, roll, pitch, latitude, longitude, and so the information screen basically has the exact same thing on it. Hit end again, and it takes you back to your main screen, which gives you a bunch of information, and that information seems to be the same between the two. At the top, you notice this says Model 1, this says A560. It's because this Model 1 is actually already paired with the receiver that it comes with. And you can go in and change the model name. I've actually already changed the model name. So let's turn this guy off really quickly. Actually, we're going to turn them both off. Move this to the side. Bring this guy over. And now we're going to put on the external module. So you pop this door off because that protects your pins. And then you can just take this external module, line it up, and slide it down into place. And she seems to be in place and ready to go. Now, one of the things I will tell you about this, this antenna moves around, but we may have to make a few modifications to the case in order to be able to fit the radio back in the case with the external module on, because it does not seem to be any space in the foam for that. So I may have to do some trimming out here in order for that to fit. And so yes, I will have to do some trim out in order for it to fit in the case with the external module on. But the good thing is we have the ability to be able to do that. So there you have it. That is the T16D and the T12D. I've had the opportunity, like I said, of being able to fly this one quite a few times, and we're going to be doing some projects with this one, and I plan on also doing a little bit more of a deep dive in the settings and the menus on this particular radio and how you could possibly use them in the future. Thanks again for stopping by and checking this out. I really appreciate it. Hope that you found some value in the video, and I look forward to seeing you in a future video. Take care.